Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all all being here. I'll start with Mr. Quadracci. Did I get that right?
Quadracci.
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 Quadracci. Couldn't you get it right on the 15th time the way I finally did?
Here, everybody together. Quadracci.
Quadracci.
Quadracci. All right. There was some testimony earlier on, and I'm sorry, I forget who made it, that as a result of some of the consolidations, and maybe it was just part of a question, there have been substantial delays in getting product delivered. Have you noticed that within your experience and for your customers?
I'd say in our experience over the last 2 years, the performance has been better than it's ever been. A couple of years ago, the Post Office put in a system to really help monitor performance throughout the network. Now, I want to be clear, I'm speaking about catalog, magazine, and direct mail. We have not seen those disruptions as they've realigned things. And we have better visibility to when there are disruptions. We can contact them very quickly and resolve the issues. So it's actually been quite good.
Thank you. And Mr. Donahoe, we're talking a lot about giving the Postal Service the flexibility to do what they need to do to be competitive in the 21st century. And the bills that the draft legislation you've seen, do we go far enough? Do we give you what you need to do that?
I think that as I've stated before, it's our intention to continue to press for comprehensive legislation. We think that what the bills do in terms of the reamortization helps. It gives us some breathing space. But as the chairman said, you would be looking at overall health care federal system. I would strongly encourage that. I'd strongly encourage a good deal of competition in those systems and wring the prices out, because we know we're paying way too much now. So from that perspective, we think it's good. We like the fact that there's the 6 to 5 day considerations in there, and we would also like to encourage the continuation on flexibility with governance and pricing.
All right, and just so we get it in the record, and I know we've talked about this in subcommittee hearings, and I do want to make sure it's clearly in the record. Can you explain to us why mail volume is going down, and whether or not you see any way of turning that around?
Let's break it down into 3 categories: first class, commercial, standard, and packages. Packages are growing. We're seeing double-digit growth. It's been great, mainly tied in.
Even with competition from private carriers, that's growing.
Yes, and we compete with FedEx and UPS. We also work with FedEx and UPS as well as logistics, DHL. We provide a lot of last-mile delivery for them, so it's been growing in leaps and bounds. Very good. From a standard mail, advertising mail, Mr. Quadracci could tell you it's stabilizing. There's a lot more technology being applied in that area, so it gives the customers the ability to match up digital and physical, use it for advertising. We think that there's a nice growth opportunity. Where we're seeing drop-offs is first class. Single-piece mail, we've lost 60% of it in the last 10 years. People pay bills online. It's cost us about $14 billion in today's 46-cent stamp if we had that. The other area that we're worried about, it's been fairly stable, but that's commercial first class. Bills and statements, we've done a lot of work to try to keep people in that mail.
And with respect to some of the proposals, Chief Innovation Officer, you think that's probably a good idea too?
I think that's a great idea. I think we pride ourselves on a lot of the innovations we've been doing now. I think that we work very well, listen to our customers. Our people, from a craft perspective, come up with a lot of good suggestions too. I think it's a great idea, and we'd embrace it.
And we talk about drop in volume of first-class mail. Do you think there would be a more substantial or quicker drop in that if the standards of service dropped? Where, for instance, if I dropped put a piece of mail in the mailbox at my house, put the little red flag up, now it gets to wherever it's going within Corpus Christi the next day. Right. If that went to 2 or 3 days within the city, do you think that would accelerate that drop substantially?
It certainly would if it was 3 days. We're looking at that now to try to figure out how, as we continue to shrink the network down, we can try to maintain some level of overnight service. But we've got to see where we're at in that.
All right, and I want to ask Mr. Guffey, do you see some areas for cost savings in innovation specifically that we need to address above and beyond the obvious issues of pre-funding and the stuff we normally talk about. Do you see some efficiencies we can find and some ways we can go that you and your folks could get behind? Have microphone, please, sir.
I think there are some opportunities at this time to work with the Postal Service on some of the health care issues. It's something that we recognize the problem, and the whole country has the problem. We think there's opportunities to sit down with the Postal Service and do something about the cost of the Postal Service for the retirees. In other words, it's not fair for the Postal Service to pay a full boat, the full cost of a health insurance plan for a person who's going to get most of his services from Medicare. Now, that is a tremendous cost to the Postal Service. We recognize that. But because they pay that much money for the retiree, that money goes into the health care system for the current employees. So, you know, in this dynamics, there's going to be some shift of cost to the Medicare, and there's going to be a lot of shift to the current employees. Coming up and meeting that fine balance is something that we think we can do. I think all the unions can get together and work that out with the Postal Service. It's something we don't want to be required to do, but allowed to do.
All right. Well, I see my time has expired. I appreciate y'all's coming before the committee and testifying today. Thank you.